Hi guys, it's Mrs. Simpson with SMS PLS, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a fun, sort of Harry Potter themed game and craft, which is a sorting hat ring toss game. Let me go ahead and explain to you what it's supposed to look like. So you can imagine, if I had a little brown paint and painted this up and made it look like the sorting hat, this would look a lot like a hat. These rings can be used to be thrown over and for target practice and for some agility training and things like that. It's a pretty simple craft, and I'm going to show you how to make it today. So there's a few different ways your kits might look. You may get a kit that has a piece of plasticky paper and 2 paper plates, and that's all that's in your kit. You may have a kit in which you have 2 paper plates, one of which has some cutting already done for you on the top, so it'll be easier to do the cutting, as well as your piece already cut out for you. Now you may have a third kit where the cone has already been formed for you for target practice as well, and all you have to do is attach it to the plate. I'm actually going to take you through the craft with this least modified kit, and that way you can join in at whatever stage of the craft your kit is prepared for. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So first step is I have to cut this plasticky paper Pac-Man type shape out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm warming up my Cool Melt glue gun. Now, if you don't like to use the glue gun, this kind of tape is not going to work for this project. The paper is just too slippery. You're going to need duct tape if you want to use tape. So you may have to go look in a drawer or on the workbench in the garage and see if you have some of this. Otherwise, you're going to be using your glue gun. All right, let me go ahead and keep cutting. So ring toss games are fun. You probably played them a lot when you were younger. This is another one where if you're at a family gathering later with a lot of younger cousins and stuff, this could keep them busy for a really long time. Whenever you want to make a cone out of something, you have to kind of make this Pac-Man shape. Otherwise, it doesn't roll into a cone. It's just a tube. You can discard the cut off pieces. Okay, so now I'm actually going to form the cone. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to sort of form it around like this. Now, you know, I probably could have made a much better template. Mine ends up having a little hole open on the top. It doesn't really bother me though. So if I'm going to use the duct tape, what I probably need to do is go ahead and get a pretty decent sized piece about the height of the cone and have it ready to go. I'll stick it right on the back of my hand. I'm going to form my cone and then take my duct tape and place it firmly over the seam. Now, if I need to go back and trim some of these little pieces off, I can do that. But if you're not using tape, you're using the glue gun. Let me show you how you're going to proceed. All right, so once again, I've got my cone. This time, I'm going to grab my glue gun, and I'm going to go on one side over here, and I am going to make several beads of glue. It takes quite a bit to keep things stuck together, so don't be skimpy with it. I'm going to carefully form my cone by wrapping it around. And I'm going to hold it, and you'll feel the warmth, but it shouldn't burn you. And I'm going to hold this in place until it starts to cool off, otherwise it won't stick. This plasticky stuff really wants to bounce back flat. All right, so once I've done that, you can see I've got this piece hanging off the side. Just to give myself a little more security, I'm going to go ahead and add a bit more glue and tuck this flap down. Some people I've seen trim it off, but I like just using more glue because it'll help my cone stay together. Once again, I'm going to hold this in place until I can feel it starting to cool. I'm holding, keeping it in place. And this doesn't take very long. This is a quick craft, and you can also use this as a physical activity this week on your physical activity stations. And in fact, you could probably use it even after this is over. I have a piece up here that I don't really like. I'm just going to peel it off. Okay, so now I've got my cone done, but if you look carefully, it doesn't quite sit flat because my paper isn't completely flat against the bottom. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim this little bit of excess off because it's important that this sit flat. And I think I actually need a touch more glue right there. You know, you guys know I love the hot glue gun. Like, I'll hot glue gun anything. Like, what did people do before hot glue guns? I don't even know. All right, so now I've got my 2 plates. One of them is going to become the brim of the hat for my ring toss. And I'm just going to kind of center this where it looks like it's about in the middle. I'm going to flip my cone over and put, and it's hard because it's really slippery, a pretty good bead of hot glue along the edge. This is like shades of the kaleidoscope all over again, but I promise this works a lot better. Now I'm going to try not to burn myself with this thing. Kind of stuck my thumb in that hole on the bottom. That worked. I'm kind of glad I left that little gap now. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this over, stick it down just about in the middle. And you know, if I'm feeling really spunky, I could probably get some brown paint. I could get other colors and make this really look like a sorting hat from Harry Potter. All right, so I've made the target. Now I have to make the ring I'm going to use for target practice. So I've got a second paper plate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole in the middle. And I'll show you kind of how I like to do this. I kind of fold mine in half and I make a cut. And, you know, it doesn't really mess up the edge of this type of plate too much, but that gives me a place where my scissors can go in. And I'm just going to cut. And I'm going to cut around. I'm going to leave the rim of the plate in place. That's going to be the ring I use for ring tossing. And you know, I'm not doing like a perfect cutting job, but that's okay. For this, I don't have to have perfect cutting. But I want to make sure I leave my rim. And it's okay that it takes me a minute. I mean, nobody does this super fast. It's kind of awkward. So if you get discouraged, take a little break and come back to it. All right, I think I've about got it. Now, if I really was bothered by the unevenness here, I could probably clean this up a little bit more. And let's go ahead and test it out. See if I can adjust my camera just a little. I'm going to see if I can make this ring toss. All right. So, you know, you probably want to back up more than the 1 or 2 feet that I sat from it, but that looked pretty cool just for the video. All right, so guys, go ahead and enjoy making your craft. When you've finished, I'd love to see videos of you guys playing it posted to our social media outlets. Make sure you tag us at SM South PLS.